Well, here we are, at the end of the road. This is the last of the taste bosses. Sorta. I'll explain my plans for the future later on in the video, but for all intents and purposes, this is the last of the bosses. But for now, I already have... let's get that out of here. We'll revisit that in a moment. I was running some tests on the boss and getting whooped. But hopefully this time I do a little bit better. Because among other things, well, I'll show you. For anything else though, let me go ahead and give this sweeping edge. What is the max? 3. Sweeping... I never thought I'd say this, but sweeping edge is going to be very important in this fight. I don't want to go too overboard with it. Like, I could give myself a netherite sword with smite 5, sweeping edge 3, and just cleave through this boss. But there's no fun in that. I may as well... I want to put myself in a situation where I'm challenged, but it's still fun for y'all to watch. But without further ado... I think it's safe to say that this boss is the hardest of the bosses in this data pack. And I know I've said that multiple times, but this time I really do mean it. This boss is tough. This boss is really, really tough. You'll soon see why. So this is Umami no Jutsu. I leaned more heavily into the references here. But as with the rest of the insane bosses, it doesn't actually have dialogue. God, it is hard. It's so hard to... Okay. Get me out of here. So yeah, his gimmick is duplication. At 50% health, he will split into 2 copies of himself, each of which retain that same ability. So, I think if it stops at, if it's 50% clones and it stops below 10 health, because that could destabilize it. If you, like, suppose that they reach, let's say, 3 health, I think was the limit for this. When they reach 3 health, they create a copy, which gets the floor of 3 over 2 is 1, and half of 1 is, in integers, is 1, so it never ends. So it just, that causes an infinite loop. Okay. Okay. There's a lot of running away involved in this fight. And you know, let me try something. Turn down my FOV a little bit, just to make it a bit easier to work with. Because I need to be a bit more precise here. Oh god, they're still behind me. And there we go. It's very, very challenging. But Sweeping Edge definitely helped. You should have seen it earlier. I initially had the number set to 0.7, and that alone was enough to make the fight completely ridiculous. But that was terrifying, but doable. And the drops, of course. He drops a full stack of insane membranes. the Hwacha, as before. It's more just like cute. Not incredibly useful, but it's nice to just like have as a sort of firework. The water walking boots. And a new item, the T-shirt of victory. I fought every single insane boss, and all I got was this lousy T-shirt. Now it does something. It doesn't do absolutely nothing. And you get little rainbow fireworks and, you know, in celebration. After all, these bosses were hard. So, if you managed to make it this far, congratulations. It was quite the... imagine it was quite the undertaking. Let me unequip that. And now, the last thing I want to do, because the video is a bit short at the moment, I will extend the runtime by just talking about how it works. I don't know why I made that sound weirder than it needed to be. But I do want to explain this, because this is one of the cooler ones that I created. So, there are always two running variables. There is half health, and there's cur health. And they do about what you think. Half health is storage of the next threshold for when to split, and is represented usually as half of the boss's current health, or half of the boss's health at that impulse. And current health is the health at any given moment. Now, I could technically, there is a built-in scoreboard for health, but I prefer using current health because I feel like it's a bit better processing-wise, because it only updates after the mob takes damage, as opposed to the health built-in score, which tracks every single frame. And now, the triggering event is when half health... Oops. When half health is less than or equal to... No. Greater than or equal to, rather, current health. That happens, and then a couple of different things happen. The first thing is that it gets the current, like the zombie that currently happened to, it takes their NBT data and copies it to a storage NBT called temp. And this is stored off to the side for now. And if you notice, let me go ahead and do data get storage, boss generic storage temp. If you notice, this is actually from one of the bosses. And I wonder if we'll be able to... I can't quite pick out its health. But it has it is the boss Umami 2, and it also has that. The custom name. And from there, the NBT is copied to temp. It then spawns a zombie with a tag of overwrite. And this is a trick that I used in my Skyblock stuff. And I haven't done anything with the Skyblock thing yet, but I still think that what I did was quite cool. Creates a zombie with a tag of overwrite, and then the data at temp is copied over to overwrite. Let me see if I can arrange this a little bit better.
Narrator
No.
off.
Sorry. Temp gets written into overwrite, and then the overwrite tag is removed. At that point, half health is updated. Now, I will say there is one caveat, because this is the current graph. You have half health and current health. When half health is greater than or equal to current health, it creates that new zombie, and then it updates half health to be a new value. There's one issue with this though, because we are working in the realm of integers. Keep in mind the condition. If half health is greater than or equal to current health. Suppose that we have something whose health is equal to 3. Half health would be equal to, what, 3 over 2? Which becomes 1 because of the integer conversion. Likewise, when health is equal to 2, half health will also be equal to 1. Why is this bad? Well, 1 causes an infinite loop. Because, as you can probably guess, 1 is its own half health, so it would continue replicating endlessly. So we need to account for this. And we do this by adding one final thing. Yeah. If it's greater than 3. 3W brilliant. So that is the general method here. And there's also like some particles and some effect that goes alongside it. Anyway, now, what happens next? Because I finished every single one of the bosses. Well, I have 2 main plans from here on in. The first is to create a it would probably be like a 45-minute long video, going in depth of every single one of the bosses, some of the unique mechanics, interesting things that I learned through the process, and a download link to the final pseudo-boss, Datapack. The other thing I would like to do is to create 3 final sort of like bonus bosses that do not have insane variants, but are strong enough in their own regard that they may as well have them. And the 3 bosses are the exemplification of spiciness, coldness, or I guess mint, and metal. Each of these bosses will have their own unique drops, their own unique attacks, and be completely separate from the rest of these bosses. Make no mistake, these bosses will be tough. I have the intent of making them on par with the insane bosses. Maybe not to the same extent as Rind 2 or Umami 2, but they're going to be hard. And they will also have unique drops and be unique bosses in their own right. I'm especially excited for Metal, but I won't spoil what Metal is going to be just yet. I'll leave that as a surprise. But anyway, that's about all I got. It's weird. I wasn't expecting to get this far. I can't even remember when I first started doing this Datapack shenanigans. It was during this semester, but it had to be like back in, I don't even remember. It seems the kind of thing I would have on hand, right? Because I am the proprietor of that YouTube channel, but I don't remember when I started making these videos and uploading them. Whatever. I'm sure it'll come to me. But yeah, it's weird. It's kind of nostalgic, the fact that I've made it all the way through. All 10 of these bosses are finished. Insane. Insane indeed. And for that... Oh, you know what I could do to end this off? Let me grab some insane memories. Okay, I have quite a few. Let's do this again, because this was very cool. I wonder if it still works. Looks like it does. But I'll need some glowstone so that I can actually see the majesty. Yeah. I've made it, we've made it. And with that, the boss Datapack series is basically over. Barring some minor changes that I'm going to make. And some new stuff that I might add. So, for the time being, that's about all I got. Have a good day, y'all.